Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Tom, and in this video, I want to go over some of the questions that you asked me on my Instagram. Now, depending on when you're watching this, my Instagram right now is actually shut down because I'm taking a little bit of a social media detox. Yeah, anyway, let's get to it. Now, there's a lot of questions, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna link all the questions down below with the timestamps so they don't have to watch the entire thing to get your questions, to look at all the questions. So that way, hey, you can go down in the comment section, browse through all the questions, and you can watch whichever one that you feel like watching. There were a lot of great questions, so I'm not sure how many I'm gonna get through. But the first one is actually from Brenda. She asked, love not giving up, but at what point do you need to drop a product and move on to the next? I actually love this question because there's definitely a fine line of being stubborn. There's a saying that's like, insanity is basically doing the same thing over and over again and expect the same results. So at what point should you give up on a product? Now, basically, I think it's very obvious to me now that whether a product will actually have initial traction or not. Now, it all starts from building the solid foundation on Amazon, making sure your images are right, your main image is tight, your copywriting is great, all that type of stuff. And then if you get 5 to 10 reviews and you start selling 5 to 10 organic units per day without any giveaways, that's a great sign that your product's gonna do well. Now, at what point should I give up on my product? What I would do is I will give up on my product if, for example, I did everything I could. That means my images are better than my competitors, my copywriting is better than my competitors, like literally everything I could, and I got reviews and everything, I got ranking, and it's not selling. Now, typically when that happens, there's usually two areas that you did wrong. Number one is the product offering, meaning the actual product that you're selling. For example, in front of me is these Lysol wipes. So, you know, gotta have the Lysol wipes on deck. But let's say that everybody is selling a 3-pack and you come out of here and sell a 300-pack. Just as a obviously exaggerated example. No one buys your product. Well, your product offering is probably wrong because no one wants to buy 300 Lysol wipes. And unfortunately, it's pretty hard for you to fix that. So product offering is number one. Number two is ranking for the wrong keyword. So these are Lysol wipes, but if you start wiping for hand sanitizer sprays, you know, you're not gonna get any sales from that because people that type in that keyword are looking for hand sanitizer spray, not Lysol wipes. So that could also be an issue. So after you do everything you can, you rank for the right keywords and it still doesn't work, you drop your price to, I think, even lower than it has to be, and it still doesn't work. At that point, you know, you gotta call it quits, but you make sure you tried everything else first before you call it quits. So, and then you move on to the next product, right? It's not so much about, yeah, anyway, you move on to the next product and then you learn from your mistakes and you keep going. Okay, so we got Kat that has a lot of questions. Number one, who are your top 3 inspirations and for what reasons and why? So obviously my parents, they, you know, my dad, I haven't shared a whole lot with my parents before, but my dad, he grew up in a very poor village. My dad's like, you know, my grandparents essentially, I don't even remember meeting them. They passed away at a pretty young age. Yeah, I don't ever recall meeting them. Both my dad and my mom are essentially the first ones in their family to actually go to university and get good education. So that's by far my number one inspiration. And number two, I would say, is just everybody around me, like all my good friends. You guys know who you are. They're always inspirations to me just because I hang out with them a lot. Looking them succeed makes me want to make sure that I don't get left behind. And yeah, making sure that I'm always doing my very best to keep up. Number 3, I would say it's myself. I don't know if that's a cocky answer or not, but you know, I will never forget where I came from. I had a lot of struggles. I have a lot of, you know, I didn't come from much, you know, immigrant, really broke, really poor. And for me to essentially do Amazon and now teaching other people how to do Amazon and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. And sometimes I look back at myself, I'm like, wow, like you've gone this far, be grateful with where you're at and don't take these opportunities for granted. So that keeps me going. But Also, speaking of teaching Amazon, I'm launching a 2-day live workshop with yours truly. Click on the link below, if you want to learn how to sell on Amazon from me, and we can spend 2 days together to actually teach you how to sell on Amazon step by step. If you could travel to Mars tomorrow, but you have to leave everything behind you for 5 years, would you? Hell no. What's your favorite food? Christina, what's my favorite food? Come on. Korean? Okay, my girlfriend of like 8 years doesn't even know what my favorite food is. It's obviously Chinese food. Come on. It's Chinese food. What lens is on that camera? It is a Canon lens RF 15 to 35mm f2.8 USM. Very expensive lens, but very, very good for vlogging. Love it. Do you think photography helped you with your Amazon business? This is an interesting question because I definitely think photography, in order for you to be good at photography, you actually have to have a good eye for things. So when you have a good eye for things, it definitely helps you with certain aspect of your Amazon FBA business, especially when it comes to marketing and branding and conversion. Because in order for you to actually get better at those things, you actually need to know what the difference are between a bad image versus a good image. So I've always feel like I've had a good eye for things. Like I've had, you know, like good style, I guess. Like I would, why are you laughing? My girlfriend is just laughing at me. Like I can't compliment myself sometimes. Let's move on to the next question. You could live anywhere in the world. Why do you live in Vancouver? It's beautiful here. I love Vancouver. Vancouver is my favorite city in the world. Like I thought about living in LA and stuff like that, but the traffic in LA is brutal. But I think you have a balance of, you know, Vancouver, LA, and somewhere else. When we can go back to travel, when this whole COVID thing is done, love to go travel. I love Greece, Europe, all that fun stuff. How to make YouTube videos. What steps do you use? And what do you use and steps? How to make YouTube videos. Okay, I'll teach you how to make YouTube videos. Step number 1, get out your phone. Step number 2, put it on selfie mode. Step number 3, start filming yourself. Step number 4, start uploading it. That's the biggest thing, guys. If you want to make a YouTube channel, the hardest part is actually the very first video. And you overthink, right? You're like, oh, I need a microphone, I need a camera, I need this, I need that, I need a banner, I need that. No, you don't need any of that. You got your cell phone. If you have a cell phone, you can make a YouTube channel. So it's not so much about what I found, it's not so much about the quality of the content, it's more about what you say. It's not about the production level and all that type of stuff. It's actually what you're trying to say and you know, the message that you come across. So quality is definitely super important when it comes to yeah, your messaging. So industry trends and piping niches after COVID. Yeah, this is super interesting. I love this topic because I think during COVID, we've obviously formed a lot of habits. So what are some of the habits that I personally formed? I'll share them with you. And I'll share with you a little bit about what I think is gonna happen after COVID. What are some of the industries that are just gonna explode? So some of the habits that I formed during COVID are, number 1, grocery shopping. So I started ordering a lot of groceries through apps like Instacart. I started using one called Legend Haul. I think it's only here in Vancouver, but they deliver great groceries and high quality meat and organic food and all that type of stuff. So in terms of food delivery, like, yeah, I've been to a restaurant one time and that was for a team meeting. That's pretty much it. Since COVID, now restaurants in Vancouver are open and I don't see myself kind of going to restaurants anymore. Like if I want to hang out with my friends, I would rather do something with them outside. Like let's go for a bike ride, let's go for something else. Not so much about restaurants anymore. Health. So really made me realize that due to COVID, health is number 1. Like if you're not healthy, nothing else matters. You can have $1 billion cash sitting in front of you, but if you are not healthy and you could die any day, what's the point of everything? So I interviewed Matt Loberstein in my previous video. Go watch that. Huge health nut, and in a good way, Matt, I love you. And yeah, I got an Oura ring. I'm eating organic food, non-GMO meat, and all that type of stuff. Really starting to take care of like, hey, what's coming into my body. I signed up for a personal training session because I want to learn some functional movements, not just like the bro bench press. I want to actually use my body and let it flow. Like, you know, I want to really, right now I feel like really tight, like really tense, really tight. my entire body is like, I can't even like touch my, you know, if I do this, I can't even touch it. I want my body to flow like the water, right? As Bruce Lee say.
Be water, my friend.
Work from home. I'm getting rid of my office. I am getting rid of my office because I feel like I don't need it anymore. We're all working from home now. So I think working from home is it's gonna be a huge trend. And from that, so there's this saying that's like, what's the second level effect, right? It's like a domino effect. Everybody sees like the coronavirus. Obviously that's the first domino. Second domino is like the economy might collapse. Third domino is this. So what is the third, fourth, fifth, like the deeper level stuff? That's what's really interesting to me. So if you've seen this, if you're watching this right now, what I'll do is I'll link a really cool article down below. I think that's gonna blow your mind. So I wanna reward you for watching my boring YouTube videos. I don't even know if people are still, actually, if you're watching this right now, just type something below so I know that people are actually watching this. Ryan, choose 3 events that occurred in your life that made the biggest impact in who you are. Man, Ryan, this question is very, very deep. I really have to think about this one, but I would say that, yeah, I mean, of course, Christina, my girlfriend, she just put her hand up. But I would say one thing is, having friends around you that are successful and seeing them succeed is truly a very impactful thing in your life. And the reason why that is because you see that it's possible. For example, if your very best friend started a business from scratch and then made a bunch of money, and how I see that is the conversation, the internal dialogue that I always have with myself is always, if this person can do it, I can too. Because I realize that like there are some special people in the world like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, okay, they're in their own level, but majority of the people are kind of all the same. Like you're not born to be smarter than me, I'm not born to be smarter than you, we're kind of the same. And what I realize that is, there's no secret. It's not like they know something I don't. So I think making money now is easier than ever because of the opportunities that you have in front of you. I mean, you have your laptop, you have so many ways to make money. And I've had some childhood friends that made a lot of money when I was very young, and kind of seeing them at an arm's distance really made success tangible. Like I felt like I could touch it, I felt like it was right there for me, and I felt like it was very possible. And for me, even seeing them succeed, they made so much money. For me, it's like, okay, maybe I don't need to make that much money. Maybe I only make 10%, 25%, 50% of what they made. Is that possible? And the answer is always yes. And the other example is kind of like, if your best friends are like bodybuilders or whatever there might be, and you see a crazy transformation of essentially them being like super fat down to, someone who's super fit, and you saw the entire transformation, it really solidifies that for you. And I think a lot of that is because it makes you believe that it's possible. And a lot of times people don't do something, it's because they actually don't believe that it's even possible. And having friends around you that are doing it, that are actually, being successful at it, makes it possible. It's like, okay, I've known this guy for 10 years, he's been fat all his life, and he decided to go through this. He didn't do anything special, he put in the hard work, and he did it. So if I were to do that, I should be able to achieve the same results. Number 2, I would have to say, of course, met my beautiful girlfriend, Christina. Without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. Without my parents, I wouldn't be where I am today. Without my friends, I wouldn't be where I am today. My parents moved to Canada. Like, if I'm in China, it's a very communist country. I don't know what I would be doing. So, yeah, everything, impact for life. I mean, getting kicked out of UBC, getting kicked out of Langara, getting kicked out of Kwantlen, getting rejected by 20 employers. I mean, so many things. I can't name 3, but this requires some thinking. So I started selling FBA last year, and I'm finding it hard to keep receipts. What software do you recommend? Oh my goodness, I got the perfect answer for you, sir. All you need to do is create a brand new Gmail account. It could be, let's say your business is Tom Wang Limited. Create a Gmail account that says Tom Wang Limited Receipts at gmail.com. It's free. Every single time you have a receipt or a digital receipt or an invoice, you forward all those things to that email, or whenever you get a receipt at a restaurant, you take a photo of it and you just email yourself, because there's a date, it's the easiest way to do it. And then you just give the login of that email to your bookkeeper or to your accountant, and they'll take care of everything for you, and they'll love you for it. When is the right time to quit your job to do Amazon full time? I absolutely love this question. I remember, I'll tell you a little quick story. So I remember I was still working at Yellow Pages, making great salary. First year I made about $155,000 first year out of school, which is insane, right? But I remember that I want to do Amazon full time, and it doesn't matter how much money you make from your full-time job, you still have a lot of doubts of quitting. In fact, the more money you make from your full-time job, it's scarier to quit, because you're like, dude, I'm making so much money, I have more to lose. Like if I was making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, it's like, okay, it's not that much. It's not that much to lose, right? So you don't have a lot on you don't have a lot on the line. Anyway, so I remember going back to BCIT, and I asked a professor. His name is Rick, and he's one of my most respected prof, because he was a consultant for so many businesses. He sat on the board for real businesses, and he taught out of passion, right? So I remember going up to Rick and I said, Rick, I want to quit my job so I can do Amazon full time. At that time, I was doing about $10,000 to $20,000 in sales. And we all know that, in sales, $20,000, like you got to reinvest everything to grow and so on and so forth. So I said, Rick, remember me? He's like, yeah, I do. I mean, perfect. This is how much money I made last year at Yellow Pages. This is how much money I'm doing with my side hustle. How do I know when to quit? And he gave me the shortest but the best answer possible. And I want you to listen to this. He said, he just looked at me, right? He just looked at me and he said, you will know when. That's it. He said, you will know when. So I'm like, wow, that's a very interesting answer. So what happened after is I just kept on working my 9-to-5 job. And I'm sure a lot of you know the story of how I quit my 9-to-5 is I was YouTubing, I was vlogging, and my managers at Yellow Pages found out that I wanted to quit my job to do Amazon FBA full time. So they pulled me aside to the office and like, hey, we saw your YouTube videos. Why don't you just quit now instead of like keep saying that you want to quit? Because they don't want to keep someone on board who's kind of like, my heart wasn't there, right? So anyway, at that moment, I just knew. I'm like, I've been waiting. The star has, it's never a perfect moment, but I just knew at that time that, you know what, that's probably the right time for me to quit my job. And I'll never forget the day that I actually quit my job. It was like a really cold, gloomy day in Vancouver, just dark clouds. I walked out of the office building for the very, very last time, and I took a deep breath, and it honestly felt like it was just, okay, Tom, it's you against the world now. Like, there is no more paychecks coming in, there is no more safety coming in. It's you against the world. Like, it's everything is on you now. And when you get put in that position, people tend to figure things out, right? It's like, if you have two choices, either you succeed or you die, most people end up succeeding. So it's like me telling you, in Vancouver there's a grouse grind, which is a very, very, tough, steep hill that you can walk up to. If I'm like, hey, you have to, if you're moderately in shape, I'm like, hey, you have to make it up the grouse grind in 1 hour or else you're dead. I bet you anything, like most people will just climb up in that 1 hour or else because they don't want to die. So for me, it was kind of the same. When I quit my job, it was do or die, right? Like there's no way I can go back. And so when you get put in that position, you tend to essentially figure things out. So you find new opportunities, you have a lot more time on your hands. And so yeah, I think the answer is you'll know when. Before you found your winning products, did you believe you would be rich one day? Yeah, I did. I believed that I was going to be rich one day, and there was never ever a doubt in my mind that I was going to work a 9-to-5 job for the rest of my life. So listen, if you're someone out there listening right now, I don't know where you are, I don't know who you are, but listen, if you have that feeling deep inside of you and you're like, I know that I'm not going to work for the man forever, and one day I'm going to be my own boss, you will be your own boss at one day. If you even have that thought, because I know how strong that thought is, and it's one of those thoughts that you can't just get rid of. It's not like you know what, I'll just settle for this. It can, like entrepreneurs, like we just have that urge inside of us. And if you have that inside of you, I promise you one day, if you just keep trying, keep taking action, keep failing and keep going, you will get there. And yeah, so I always believed that I was going to be rich one day. I just didn't know when. I just didn't know when. Networking effectively. My man, Mina. So look, networking effectively is really easy. It's all about providing value, okay? Don't be scared to reach out to people, but don't reach out to people with an ask. Because the reality is like, you know, networking is very much like, okay, look, if you're walking down the street, would you ever go up to a random stranger and be like, hey, I don't know you, but do you mind helping me to move my apartment for like 30 minutes? No one's gonna say yes. They're like, no, I don't like moving. But if you ask your friend who you guys have a relationship with, yeah, they'll probably help you, right? So when it comes to building, you know, networking and things like that, it's all about building relationships. So it's providing value. It's literally give, and then you can ask for something back. It's not ask. Like I get so many DMs on Instagram and stuff that are like, oh, please help me to start an Amazon business. Like that's like literally same as you walking down the street and be like, hey, can you help me to move? Like, no, I'm not gonna help you to start an Amazon business. So again, ask and take, ask and take. Make sure there's a balance. But the first time you ever reach out to someone, it's always give. What's one piece of advice you can give to a young and new entrepreneur like myself? Find a mentor. Find a mentor, find a mentor, find a mentor, find a mentor. What was the best book you read? So, I read a lot of great books. A couple of them pops in my mind. Number one is The Power of Now. I haven't finished it yet, believe it or not, but I thought it was really good. The Four Agreements, I absolutely love that book. I think it's one of those books that I feel like everybody needs to read, and I'll probably reread one more time. I love The Shoe Dog. I'm a very big fan of that book. It's by Phil Knight, about how he started Nike, the multi-billion-dollar, one of the biggest, you know, apparel brands, and it's crazy about how he started that. I really enjoy that book. But yeah, those are the 3 books that I think I recommend. Should make a video breaking down tax deductions, tips for your car, house, travel, etc. Yeah, I just basically give everything to my accountant and he kind of figures everything out. Look, if things are an expense for business, it's an expense for business. For example, like this camera that I use, I bought it because I need to make YouTube videos. That's a business expense. So I write that off, right? This desk, I buy this for business expense. I write this off. But meals that I have at home, the grocery deliveries, that's for my body. I can't write that off. But if you go out for dinner, you can write that off if it's business. So yeah, house. I mean, I've looked into this. There's not too many hacks or things you can do. The CRA is not stupid. So yeah, just don't piss off the CRA and you'll be fine. What are your personal values that you live by in life? Yeah, so this is a great question. I think there's a few, definitely. Integrity. Integrity is what happens when others aren't watching. So having a high level of integrity is everything. I think just don't screw other people over. Like for me, I have a lot of business relationships with a lot of people. I have partners in a lot of businesses. I have partners in, yeah, I have a lot of partners. And to be honest with you, haven't signed too many contracts. A lot of these partnerships are essentially on like a handshake. But the people that I deal with are just like, they're just good people. And I feel like for me, I get that, I have a good vibe for people. And also, like, never talk shit about people behind their backs, because that's the one thing I actually look for is if you come up to me and start talking bad things about someone else, the very first thing that I think of is like, okay, like, I wonder what you're saying about me behind my back. You know what I mean? So that is something that I avoid at all costs. But honesty, integrity, and just be a nice person. Have you transitioned any products from Amazon to retail bricks and mortar? If so, how? So we haven't, although we have, so our products actually, Nordstrom pop-up actually approached us about 2 years ago, and we actually put some of our Amazon products into Nordstrom, which was pretty cool. But that was the only kind of retail experience that we got, and It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work that Christina did. She's looking at me. Gotta give credit where the credit's due, right? So, show your daily life routines, hobbies, free time. Yeah, so right now I am actually exercising a lot. I picked up road biking. I've been going on these like super long bike rides. Follow me on Strava if you haven't. Really been enjoying that. I'm doing personal training at the gym about 2 times a week. I have kickboxing 1 time a week. I go biking a couple times a week, and I do solo workouts a couple times a week. And yeah, really trying to like come back and watch my videos in about a month or 2. I'm going to get in much better shape. But I feel like I'm actually in a much better shape now than I have been a very long time. So hobbies, a lot of sports, free time, you know, me and my girlfriend really, we used to go out for dinner a lot, but we don't do that anymore. So I think we need to find a new hobby. Watching Netflix, I guess. Don't do a whole lot of that, but yeah. Working with a business partner or what to look for in a partner. So this is a great question. So I have a lot of business partners, as mentioned in the past, and one of the things that is really important is for you to understand if you're a visionary or if you're the integrator. So what that means is that the visionary is usually the one with crazy ideas, with, you know, big ideas. They're usually, they like to get things moving, they like to get projects off the ground, but the integrator is essentially the one that works on the business in terms of the minor details and putting everything together. They, as the name suggests, they integrate everything. Let's say you want to create a software, but you have 0 software experience. Well, but you're really good at marketing. So look, don't find someone who's really good at marketing, because that's what you're good at. What you need to do is find someone who has coding background, who's a software engineer to create the software, and then you can be the marketer to actually go market the software. So another example could be like, I don't know, like if you want to, I don't even know, if you want to start an Amazon business, right? There's different stages of this Amazon FBA business. Sourcing, negotiating, you know, marketing, ranking, technical things, customer service. Like, what are the responsibilities of yours? What are your responsibilities and what are theirs? And make sure that you are essentially dividing up the responsibilities based on your strengths and weaknesses. What has been the biggest driver for your Amazon brand success in the past 6 months? So we invested a lot into messaging and branding. I think that's really critical and important, especially now with the Amazon FBA. Like, you can't just launch a random product on Amazon anymore. You really need to create a nice brand around it. So for us, we invested a lot into our brand. We have a brand playbook. We interviewed our customers. We understood their pain points. We understand who they are. And then we form our messaging towards that particular person. So yeah, just knowing who your customers are and making sure you know how to talk to them. There's a pretty good podcast that I'll link below. It's by Moise Ali, and he interviewed the founder of Manscaped. And they give a pretty good story about how Manscaped at first, you know, the messaging was very almost like scientific and like, oh, you need this because like this and this and this. But then they change out their messaging to just these completely, you know, crazy ads, and it's doing really well, and that resonates with their audience. So I think messaging is super important. But you can't have messaging without knowing who your customers are, okay? So anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. This is about 30 minutes long, and hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, click on the link below. Feel free to follow me right now. Like I said, I am off of Instagram, but I will be back, and probably pretty soon. So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you guys are working on yourselves, bettering yourselves. Hope you guys are dreaming big and hustling hard. Hustling hard and dreaming big. Yeah, I like that. So anyway, keep going, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the very next episode.